putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It is the Kevin Jackson Show. Sort of along the lines of what we were talking about just a few minutes ago, which is the left and the idea that they claim to love everybody and it's kumbaya, et cetera, but in fact, they pick sides. And in a couple of instances that came out right after the Vegas shooting, we saw exactly who the left is. These are not anecdotal people. The woman who said, pray only Trump tards died, because she said mostly country music people are conservatives. And so I would say to the people who are doing country music, these leftists that are out there, like who's Faith Hill married to? Tim McGraw, big time lefty. Maybe you should think about your audience. Maybe you should think about the fact that there are lefties out there who want you dead because you do country music. But she said it's okay that these people died because they were Trump tards. And let's pray that only Trump tards died. Then we get the CBS exec who says, I don't have any sympathy for the people killed there. They're country music people. Those people tend to be Republicans, or what she called repugs, because we're repugnant to her. So when you listen to these people and they want to regale you with the idea that they're, woo, we love everybody and all that, it's absolute nonsense. They do not love everybody. It's a lie. They pick sides. And all you got to do, if you really want to know how something feels to them, you can't use a Republican. Donald Trump has been a godsend to this country. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on, he's a godsend. You might not like his choices of Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch, but Gorsuch's a great guy. I'd tell you the truth, if I were a lefty, I'd be mad that he picked Gorsuch, but there's nothing wrong with Gorsuch. He's going to make the right decision for the country. If you could say that about the left, I wouldn't mind if you told me, Kevin, we're going to take this lefty judge, but they are for the good of the country. They're going to make the right decision for the good of the country. I'd be okay with it. But they don't do that. They follow ideological patterns. And what we follow are common sense patterns that work. But here's the thing. A librarian, and you guys know the story, wouldn't accept these books from Melania Trump because they were Dr. Seuss books. And the First Lady put this letter in there: getting an education is perhaps the most important and wondrous opportunity for your young lives. And the librarian's name is Liz Phillips Suero, and she wrote an editorial for the Horn Books Family Reading blog explaining why her school does not need the books. And she wrote, yearly per pupil spending in Cambridge is well over $20,000. Our city's values are such that given a huge range in the socioeconomic status of our residents, we believe that each and every child deserves the best free education possible and are working hard to make that a reality. Most classrooms maintain a 60-40 split between free and reduced lunch and paid lunch. This offers our Title I school the district a lot of privilege and room for programming, pedagogy to foster high standards of excellence. Even so, we still struggle to close the achievement gap, retain teachers of color, dismantle the systematic white supremacy in our institution. But hell, we test well, and in the end it appears the data and not the children are what matters. And she goes on to talk about the fact that the Cat in the Hat, Dr. Seuss, was essentially racist. And then, as you guys probably know, she got outed. They found her complete in uniform in the library in the Cat in the Hat outfit with the books. Reading is fundamental, blah, blah, blah. And it had something to do with Michelle Obama having donated the books or something like that, or who knows. But suddenly, the Cat in the Hat was no longer racist. Now, this lady who wanted to make a stance, who wanted to show Melania Trump, I'll show her. And so then the opposition team, Melania Trump, and people at the White House said, let's do a little research on this teacher. And they found her in the Cat in the Hat outfit, happily, cheerfully talking about the Cat in the Hat, etc. And there's Michelle Obama reading the Cat in the Hat. This woman never said a word about the Cat in the Hat. Never said a word when Michelle Obama did it. I don't know if Michelle Obama donated books or whatever. And for the record, I don't care about Dr. Seuss any more than I care about anybody else. I learned to read on some Dr. Seuss books, and my kids have learned to read on some Dr. Seuss books. But it could have been anything. So I don't have an affinity for Dr. Seuss. What I can tell you is I never got out of Dr. Seuss that he was racist or that there was some lesson in green eggs and ham outside of me going, how to get the green eggs? Why the eggs green? What kind of monster is that? Is it a leprechaun egg? I didn't know. It never mattered. So it backfires on this woman. And it was opposition research that showed you. But here's what's interesting. I've already told you what you know, which is if, all you got to do is switch it up. If Michelle Obama had given her the book, she would have beamed and it would have tried to give her an award and they would have begged her to come to the school, etc. First Lady Trump, Melania Trump, does it. And it's, oh my gosh, it's so racist, whatever. Then we find out, of course, this lady's the biggest hypocrite in the school, if not in the town, maybe in the state. So we learn, the basics. That Democrats are duplicitous in their nature. Everything they do is political. She couldn't just accept a very gracious gift from Melania Trump. So that's where we are. But what are the real issues? The real issues are this. When Donald Trump offered his travel ban, which is a travel order that was practically identical to Barack Obama's, they hated it. They hated it. It was too far reaching. It was this. Trump even softened it. They still hated it. Now, does it matter that a guy who was on the travel ban, who theoretically should have been on the travel ban, from the Sudan, a Muslim from the Sudan, comes over here, shoots up a white church in the name of Allah, and it's probably still on there's not even a ban list for him. He probably could get in to this day. I find that ironic. So when Barack Obama did it, it was okay. When Trump did it, it wasn't okay. Goes back to what we just talked about with Melania. And there's example after example of Donald Trump doing something similar, to Barack Obama, and everybody having a conniption. Donald Trump had the identical stance on immigration that Barack Obama had at one point. Identical. If you didn't know that, if you just read the text of Barack Obama talking about protecting our borders, making sure, same thing as Bill Clinton. Nobody said a word on the left. Donald Trump says we need to protect the border, potentially build a fence, and disincentivize companies from hiring these people, and they have a fit. Could go on. Different policies that Trump has had an identical position to Obama, and these guys are like beating down on the guy. And so, one of my teammates made a video about this, and I told her, I said, I don't mind the video, but you didn't cover all these things where Trump did the same thing and they excoriate him. And then when these guys do good, then the left goes, oh, look at what they're trying to do there, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. So a good example is Donald Trump Jr. turns over his data. It says here are my emails. Here's everything. Nothing redacted. Do whatever you want with them. Oh, what's he up to? But Hillary Clinton turns over nothing. And, there's nothing to show here. When you don't even need Hillary Clinton to turn over data. It's a matter of public record this woman's been on the take. So you could go on listing all of these different people and all of these different efforts, and it's going to all come back to the same thing. If Donald Trump did it, it's wrong. If Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton did it, then it's right. That's how these people act. And they wonder why We don't trust them. They wonder why we revolt. I would ask leftists, are you capable of playing by the rules? Are you capable of just saying, I don't like this policy because it's a bad policy or because it's Trump? Can you look at Obama at a policy and not love a policy because it's Obama? When do you people grow up is my question. Just give us an ounce of truth. We don't need it all.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.